Hi, my name's Rachel and you're watching another plant channel. And today we are going to do my houseplant tour for fall 2021. And I try and have some plants in every room. So we're just going to go around my house and I'm going to show you how I have things set up, how they're styled, and kind of like what's in my collection. So let's get started. Okay, so the first part we're going to look at is this end of my living room here. And I have these little shoe cabinets on each side of my TV. And I set up little grow areas on top of them. So that's going to be washed out. But these are just plug-in wall sconces. And then I ran the cords down the wall and hid them behind a plastic cord concealer. And then I just have a standard light bulb in them. That way I could control the color of the light. And it seems to be doing well for low light plants. So I'm just going to start over here. This is my Aspidistra. And I love this plant. I feel like not enough people talk about it, or maybe not enough people have it, but if you can find one of these, I highly recommend it. And next to that, I just have my lemon lime philodendron and my jungle boogie. This one I picked up at a plant swap. I saw beforehand that somebody was going to be bringing it, and this was like the one plant that I wanted to try and get. So I was really excited when I did. And then here is my Sansevieria, or Dracaena now. And this I also got at a plant swap. I got it at a plant swap and it was just this one here. And it's since put that out. And I love the pot that one's in. I have it just in terracotta, sitting inside of this planter that I got from At Home. Now if we come to the other side, I have some more of my lower light plants. And same thing over here with the plug-in sconce. So right here I have a global green pothos, and I started this from a cutting. This was actually in my favorite plants last month, but I just love this. I had it growing on my porch all summer and decided to bring it in. Kind of doing a little bit of spooky. I'm not big into the whole spooky season thing, but I wanted to put out a few touches. And I have more Sansevieria here. So this is my whale fin. And this is my cylindrica. And then over here is the moonshine. And that's just an overview of that area. So now I'm going to turn us around. And we're going to go down to this end of my living room. And right now I just have a lamp set up off to the side here to try and light this better for you guys. So this is my main plant area in the house. This is where I keep the ones that I probably like to look after the most. I'm going to just start down here. We're going to start on the top shelf. So right here is a string of hearts. And this was a gift from my husband back when they were kind of new to the scene and they were harder to find. And I got like a 2-inch pot on eBay, and this thing grows so fast. And then here is a Philodendron, I think Bipenifolium. It's the horse head one. And I got this at a plant swap also. This is my Epipremnum amplyssimum. This guy's been a bit of work for me. This one actually ended up getting root rot shortly after I got it. And I rehabbed it and I finally started taking cuttings to fill it out a little. So we're doing better than we were. Back here is my Philodendron Squamofrom, and this is one of my favorite plants. This just grows, it's constantly growing. It's like always putting on a new leaf. It's not a super fast grower, but there's always something going on. You know, so like the leaf here, I mean, this one will be going on for maybe like 2 weeks or so, 3 weeks. But there's always something happening, which makes it fun. This one here is another one of my favorites. This is a Rhodospatha, and this is one that I picked up from Equigenera. They did a pop-up event in Connecticut, and I went and I found this one. And this is, I got it at the end of August. This is the first new leaf it's put out for me, but you can see it's starting another. Next to that is my Philodendron Camposportoenum, and this is the newest leaf. We are getting closer to the adult shape. They get like kind of like ears at the top. But this plant is one that grows really fast. It's pretty easy going for me too. If you find this one, I highly recommend this one. And then back here is my Antherium Fingers. I believe it's called the Pedata radiatum, I think. And this one actually is just put out a bloom. So I'm going to wait and kind of save some pollen from that and do some experiments. In front of him, I have my Florida Ghost. And I'm just going to tip this so you can see. So the leaves that are new, they'll come in white, and then they will fade to like a green color as they get older. But this one is really fun too. This one didn't do anything for me for like the first 4 months, but now that it's started to do stuff, it doesn't stop. This is my Monstera adansonii, and this is the wide one. I had a wide and a narrow, but the narrow one just wasn't doing it for me, so I gave that away. And this one, every time I look at it, it just makes me happy. The leaves are huge. I've got it kind of growing up a stick. I don't know, I might replace it with a plank, but I'm just really happy. That one always grows really well. And I did have issues with the smaller leaf one with a lot of yellowing, so I'm more careful on the watering on this. I feel like they're very picky. They don't want to go dry too long, so there's kind of like that very small window where the soil is dry enough but not overly dry, and that's when they want to be watered. And if you wait too long, I feel like that's how the leaves yellow. I could be wrong, but in my experience, that's what's worked for me. Okay, next here is my Antherium Veterafolium, and this is my newest leaf, and look how long that is. So let me step back. You can see it hanging down there. And I really like this one. This one is one of those ones, it feels like a belt almost, like it's very leathery. And it's pretty easy going as far as what I've done with it. I pretty much treat it just like the rest of my plants, and it seems to be fine with that. All right, next here is my Philodendron Adabapuense, and I love this plant, but this plant is super slow growing for me. So maybe it just needs to kind of like get used to my environment. And I've had this since Mother's Day. It was a Mother's Day gift, and it has put out that leaf and this one. So yeah, like I said, it's pretty slow growing, but I don't care. I like the way the leaves look, especially as it gets older and they're bigger. All right, behind that is my Anthurium, and this is an experiment I've been working on, pollinating it. Let me see if I can make it focus there. I'm pretty sure I've been successful in this because it's getting swollen and bumpy, that these will turn into berries and seeds. But I have my fingers crossed. This is something I've been working on for quite a while to see if I could make it happen. And if it works, I'm going to try cross-pollinating some of my other ones. All right, now in front of that is my Philodendron Melanochrysum, and I got a small one to start with. This plant, I mean, I don't know, this is hard for me. I like it, right? And when they get big, they're like especially beautiful, but this one has so much trouble unfurling its leaves, and I have a lot of humidity in this area for it, but if I'm not here to like mist them and almost help them, they just get stuck and snap off. You can see that one there I didn't catch in time, and I lost the entire leaf. So this plant is picky, but it's beautiful. So in the long run, I will keep it going, hopefully, and see, but just be aware of that if you're getting one, I think. All right, next is my Alocasia Nicoliciana, and you might see this called a Friedeck. I believe that it's only a Friedeck when it's variegated, and otherwise it's the Nicoliciana. But this one just has such beautiful leaves, and this is a really easygoing Alocasia too, for the most part. I just don't ever let them dry out. But this one has, right now, 3 leaves. And they came, when it first, came to me, they were maybe a couple inches big. So this one, it acclimated really well, really quickly. All right, next here is my Philodendron Tripartitum. And this I picked up at a plant swap too. This was super exciting. Now, when I got it, it just had these type leaves, so juvenile leaves, and they are starting to get that signature T-shape to them, so I'm really excited for this. This is one I'm probably going to have to cut soon and put back into the pot. All right, all the way in the back there is my Alocasia Louderback and this is also called the purple sword, and that's because the backs of the leaves have like a purple cast to them. And this one is a fast grower too, and this one gets big fast. When I first got it, all the leaves were smaller like this guy, and now you can see, you know, it's like twice the height of my hand. And then this guy here is an Alocasia Hilo Beauty or a Caladium Hilo Beauty. I've seen it called both. But this is just a really pretty one. This one I try and watch a lot closer because if you feel these leaves, they're much thinner than the ones on the other Alocasias. So I feel like this one has the potential to go downhill a lot quicker if I'm not on top of it. All right. And then right here, my Monstera. I got this back at the beginning of my plant journey, so probably 4 years ago, maybe 3.5, 4 years. And I got it just in a little 6-inch pot with no fenestrations. So this has been something that's kind of fun to watch grow. And I've taken so many propagations. I've shared them with people. I've made extra pots for outside in the summer. And this one just keeps on growing. And then the last one on this top shelf here is my Calathea rufibarba, or now probably a Gopertia rufibarba, because a lot of the Calatheas have been reclassified. So this is the one with the velvet leaves, and this is a really easy one I feel like to start out with for people. So if you're looking into, and I'm just checking because it almost looked like spider mite damage, I'll have to check that after. The edge of the leaf here looked a little mottled. But yeah, the back sides are a bright purple. It's got a velvety feel to it, and it doesn't brown as much as the others do. Now we are going to go back to the left and down to the bottom shelf. And then normally what I have is I have grow lights under here, you can see. And these are just ones that I picked up at Lowe's. They were called, I think, a Good Earth grow light. And if I can find them, I'll link them in the description box. But basically they're just an LED with a warmer shade to them because I don't like the cold bluish purple lights as much. So that was more my aesthetic. So we are just going to get into the back here. In the very back is my Antherium Superbum, and that one's a really slow grower. I've had it almost a year, and I think I've gotten maybe 2 new leaves out of it, so that one takes its time. Right here is another one I picked up at that Ecuagenera pop-up, and this is an orchid, actually. It's a Palexia olivaceae, and I will try and put the name on the screen. This is one that I had never heard of before because I'm not really an orchid girl, but it's a terrestrial one, so I mean I can kind of grow it how I'm used to growing my other plants, and the leaves were just too good to pass up. Now in the back is my Anthurium Forgetty Eye, and he is putting on a new leaf for this occasion, so this is really exciting. This is another one I got from Ecuagenera. This one was my first import. I ordered one plant because I kind of wanted to see how it was going to go and if it would be successful. And when I got it, I ended up taking off most of the roots and rerooting it for myself. But since then, it's put out that huge leaf in the back and then this one here. And just a quick advice tip that I have found with my Anthurium is when they're putting out a new leaf, you want to make sure that it does not dry out completely because that will ruin the size of the leaf. I feel like when they get enough to drink and they don't dry out, the new leaves will be bigger. Right in front of that is an Anthurium Villanurum, and this is also from the Ecuagenera pop-up. And then the last one from the Ecuagenera pop-up is right back there. That's an Antherium Reflexonervium. And it's kind of like the bird's nest style, like the Superbum, but it's got the crinkly leaves. And I actually just potted that up like a week and a half ago. It's been rehabbing until now. In front of that is my Clarinervium, and I love this guy. I got this as a very small seedling, and it came with like 2 or 3 leaves this size. And I have been so excited to watch it grow as they get bigger and bigger. I actually almost feel like these are like, I wish it would stay like palm sized because they're perfect. The newest leaf has some issues, and I'm not really sure why. Maybe it got too close to the grow light because it does look like there could be some burning where the water was on the leaves. So I don't know. I'll keep an eye on it. I didn't see any pests, and I don't believe it's a humidity issue. So maybe it's just a one-off. I'll just watch for the next one. In the back there is my Antherium Plumani, and this is another one that is in bloom right now. And this is another bird's nest style. This one came with this one variegated leaf on it. So I've just been watching this. I haven't had the heart to cut it off, but yeah, I like that guy. And then the last one in this little Anthurium section is my Antherium Vici Eye. And this is the one that will get abs eventually, fingers crossed. So you can see this one also started out with, I think, 1 or 2 leaves of this size. And then this was the last one, and it's got one starting now. So we'll kind of have to watch and see how that guy's going to come out. Now going over here is mostly Alocasias, but I have 2 Philodendrons to show you guys. So this one in the front is a Verrucosum. This is another one that I ordered from Ecuagenera, and I just got this potted up a few weeks ago. These ship notoriously bad. They come with like yellow leaves. You can see some of it here. But they do bounce back really quick. So I've found that this one rooted really fast compared to my other philodendrons and other things that I've tried rerooting. And right now, I just have 2 cuttings in this pot, and they're already starting to put out new growth. And then so exciting, this one in the back. This is my Philodendron Mayo Eye. This started, let me just move my Verrucosum out of the way real quick. This started as a 1-leaf cutting that I picked up from a plant store. And this is the original leaf. So it was this and a little piece of stick. And that was back in February. And now this is my newest leaf. And it's got so many nice, I guess like fingers or lobes, whatever you want to call them. But I'm just really happy with how this guy is doing. And then continuing on this shelf, I have my black velvet Alocasia, and that newest leaf, I think, had some kind of maybe sun damage. I also did not see any pests on this, but I'm not ruling it out. I keep checking. And then the Maharani, I feel like if you could get one of these jewel Alocasia types, this is the one I would probably recommend. The leaves are so thick they feel like cardboard, and this one is really good at pushing out new leaves and not losing old ones, as long as it's getting enough light. So this one started out, you can see the original plant there, and then it popped up 2 more from the soil. So this one is getting pretty full, and I just so pretty. They almost have an alien type look to them. In the back is my Cuprea. And this is one of those ones that you want to see in sunlight because it just doesn't do it justice. Otherwise, it gets like this really gorgeous pink coppery sheen to it, which is where the name comes from, Cuprea. That one, I just cut off a bloom. I don't keep the blooms on my Alocasia because I'm not into pollinating them yet. I haven't really researched it if it's something that I could do. So I let the plant put its energy back into creating leaves. Whereas the Anthuriums, because I've been studying that more, I let the blooms on that go because I'm hopeful to use them for something. And then in the back there is my poly. And this one has been on the brink of being given away so many times, but I just can't do it. I got it last September, like a year ago, and it didn't grow at all until about April or May. It finally started putting out a leaf or 2. So now I'm kind of invested in it. This is my silver dragon. This is another really nice jewel Alocasia. And then over here is the Longilobata. I think it's also called the Dragon's Tooth. And this one did not do well for me, went downhill pretty quickly after shipping, so I'm thinking this one's more delicate. But if you look now, you can see that it's actually looks like it's growing again. So it will have been dormant for maybe like 4 or 5 months, and now it looks like it might be doing something. So I'm excited for that. Now that's that plant shelf. Let me step back and give you a real quick overview of this. And this is my Calathea Corner is what I call it. It's mostly Calathea. I do have like a peace lily and Alocasia, but mostly Calathea, and I keep them all kind of grouped together because it helps the humidity. So I'm just going to start here and go through them quickly. I do have a video showing my whole collection and talking about them more in depth if you're interested in that. So here is my Variegated Maranta, and this one I ordered online from Bark and Vine. This is my Zabrina, and this was from Found Things Co. in Syracuse, New York. This one here is a Calathea misto, or maybe a Gupertia now. And this one was just a Walmart find. Hidden back in here, I have my rattlesnake. And this is one of the slower growing ones. I think it's put out maybe like 2 or 3 leaves in the entire year I've had it. This is my variegated peace lily. Oh, and it's actually got a bloom. I cut them off because I don't want the pollen anywhere near my dog, but I love this plant. This plant has a neat texture. If you've never felt a variegated peace lily, to me it doesn't feel like the standard ones. It feels kind of leathery and textured. And then back here is my Regal Shield, and this is an Alocasia. This one does so well for me. This was, I think, probably the first big plant that I ever bought, and I think it was like $20 or so at Home Depot. And I mean, I'm just so glad that I did, because look at, let's see which one. This is the newest one here, and it's still hardening off because it's still a little soft, but I mean, just look at how big they get. And it's constantly growing too. Coming back down here, I have the Maranta Lucanura Kirchoviana, which I think is just the standard rabbit tracks one. And then the lemon lime Maranta next to it. And this is my Orbifolia. This one I know has been classified as a Gupertia. This one has been putting out new leaves left and right recently, and I am so happy with it. I have been working really hard to not have as many brown tips. This, I mean, this does not bother me at all. So my main thing, do not mist them. When I stopped misting them and I started giving only distilled water, I noticed a lot of my problems went away. Next to it is the, what used to be called the Network, or the Calathea Mosaica, and now I believe it's the Gupertia Kegeljanii. I think I probably butchered that name. But this is another one that's super easy to grow, and I mean, look at the pattern on the leaf. It's just really pretty. And then working our way into this corner here, I've got the Peacock Calathea. This is the red-veined prayer plant. And I managed to find this one at, I think it was Lowe's. This is always one that I said if I found again I would try, so I was happy when I did. Now up here, one of my favorites also, this is, I am not sure. It's either a Calathea setosa or a Tenanthe setosa. It wasn't labeled, and I've seen, like, I can't think of the word I'm looking for, but I've seen information that could go either way. And then back in here, I have my Stramanthe Triostar, and this one here is my newest leaf, looking really good. And then hanging in this window, I just have 3 Hoyas. So here is my Burtonii, and this is the only one that blooms for me as of yet. You can see it's got some going on in there. This one is really easy to bloom, and it's constantly blooming. And then I have the Crimson Queen, and then I have the Pubicalix. And then I've got one last plant in the living room here, so we're just going to turn slowly. And right here, I have a small-leafed Fittonia, and it's in just this lamp from Walmart. So what I liked about this lamp is all of the electrical parts are outside of it, so there's nothing to worry about getting wet. And I just thought it was really fun. So now that you guys saw the living room, I want to take you into the dining room and show you what I've done with my hutch. And I've got some plants in my dining room window, so let's go. Okay, I'm going to show you this side of the dining room first because this side does not have as many plants. So up here I have my Synthapsis Pictus. And this is not the one that I had issues in my struggle video. This is a different one. The one I had issues, I made it an outdoor plant. And then this is the one my grandmother gave me. This was one of the very first plants in my collection. It was this and my string of pearls. So I've had this since the summer of 2017 or 2016. This one's been around a long time. Over here I have my Monstera siltepecana. And I just have that in a little black hook that holds a pot on the wall. String of bananas. Here I've got my Peperomia Ruby Cascade and my string of hearts. And these guys used to be down to like here, but we had a bit of an incident. The hanger that was in the old pot broke. It rotted through the rope and it fell. So this whole pot, it was a larger pot, fell down onto the cacti that were here below it. And I decided I was going to go with smaller pots, and I was also going to do the ropes kind of in a macrame thing so they wouldn't be inside the pot getting rotted. So hopefully that should fix it. We'll get these guys back on track. And then on the windowsill below them, I just kept some of my crawling philodendrons. So this is my El Chaco Red, and I'm working on propagating this. This one was one that came from Ecuagenera, and we are getting some roots. So that is good. This is my Pastazanum. Well, part of it. I took cuttings from the one I had outside in the summer. This is what would be the top cutting. And you can see I've already got a new leaf coming there. That is a Gloriosum propagation. And then next to it is the mother plant. So it was just starting to outgrow, because the way they grow, they crawl across the top. So you can see here's where I took the cut. It was starting to climb out of the pot. So I wanted to take a new cut, and we'll put it back in when it roots. And then over there is just the top cutting off my mame that I had growing outside for the summer. And then my terrarium. So let's get a little closer to that. I won't go over that super in depth, but it is fun. So I do want you to see it. And you can see I've got a jewel orchid in there. I've got some Rhaphidophora, some Ficus pumila, some Selaginella, and then like a little bonsai tree and some moss. Just a few fun things to kind of see what would do well. And then my Syngonium is here on my table. And this is one that I picked up at a yard sale a couple summers ago. And I liked this because I've never seen it where it had the lobed leaves at the top. I've never seen one that mature. So I thought that was really fun. And this is another one of those plants that I continually take cuttings from and just keeps growing. And so if we turn the other direction, you can see my hutch here. And this was just a standard, like, you know, put dishware in it type hutch. But I went ahead and put grow lights under the shelves. Well, not grow lights, under cabinet lights. But they have been going that way for about 2 years, and they've been very good for growth. So that's what I have done. And I'm just going to go over this real quick with you guys. So over here is my Rhaphidophora corner. And I've got my Decursiva here. And I know this one looks a little sad right now. This is a part that I propagated. So it's going to hopefully perk up once it starts drinking up some water. But by cutting that, I got some new growth in here, and then there's some more coming in the back. But this was my very first leaf with fenestrations up to that point. And then there's the Tetrasperma. And this one is another one that I've taken a lot of cuttings from. And then up here on the wall, I recently gave away one of my Rhaphidophora and my goal was to take pieces from my other one and put them on a plank. And I kind of just wanted to grow them up that. So I'm hoping that they will root well, everything will work. And this is my Rhaphidophora corner. Now, I'm trying to figure out the lighting here. I don't want you guys to see everything washed out, but I also don't want it to be so dark. Okay, so this is my Burrow's tail, and this one we admire from afar because if you even get close to it and like breathe on it, you lose a ton of those little guys. So this is one you admire from afar. And I have it on a plate, that way when I pull it out to water it, I don't have to touch anywhere near the pot. Below that, I have my Peperomia Hope. And I really like this one. This is one of the few. I don't have a lot of peperomias. For me, they don't do as well as other plants, but this one seems to do pretty good. That's a string of buttons. It's part of the Crassula family. And then down here, I have a few more succulents. These are all ones that came out of my window for fall. So this is a propeller plant, also part of the Crassula family. And I named that one Pilot Pete because it's a propeller plant. And Pilot Pete was on Bachelor, so I kind of thought it was like a funny thing. And then back here is the pencil cactus, the Euphorbia tirucali. And I bought this one at Found Things Co. on their rehab shelf, and I've been working on it all summer, and you can see that's a whole new branch, and so is the other one with the leaves on it in the back. And I apologize if this is not looking great, the lighting. I keep trying to adjust it. But if I turn these out, it's going to be so dark, I feel like you're not going to be able to make anything out. So this is my Paelia Pepperonis, and this guy grows like crazy for me. This is one I'm constantly cutting down and kind of restarting because I feel like as it gets older, it doesn't look as good. So I feel like it looks better when you keep it small and compact. So this is actually just like a bunch of cuttings in this pot for now. Next to that is my Monstera Peru, the one leaf cutting that I have. I got it with that leaf there back in February with the Mayo Eye that I showed you in the living room. And this one has grown one leaf. It took forever to root. They're notoriously hard to root, but I finally got it. Next to that is the Silver Sword, also from the same purchase as the Peru and the Mayo Eye. And this one started out as like one leaf, I think, and a wet stick, or maybe just a wet stick. I don't know. It wasn't a lot when I first got it, but this one is actually doing pretty good. And then next to it is a plant that I have been appreciating a lot recently, and this is my Epipremnum pennatum variegata. So this is the alba one. But this is like the poor girl's Alba Monstera. I didn't want to splurge on the Alba Monstera, so I did like a mini splurge on this guy. But, I mean, eventually this could get fenestrations and stuff, but I like how small and compact it is. I don't have to worry about having a huge area for it. And it's always putting out neat variegated leaves. So I'm glad I got that. Now down here, a few more succulents and another touch of spooky. So I have just this little resin skeleton hand, and that is holding my pickle plant. This one I picked up at Bark and Vine in person. And I believe the scientific name is Delosperma echinatum, because I know there's more than one pickle plant, which is why when I had seen this, I had no idea what it was. And that always intrigues me, so I had to bring this one home with me. And it's got these little hairs on it where it looks like it would be prickly, but it's not, it's soft. Next to that is my bear paw. And then another peperomia. This is the Peperomia quadrangularis, or the beetle peperomia. This is another one that does really good for me in my care. I find it likes bright light, and I have it in terracotta so that it'll dry out. And then I have a pot of lithops. This is a Kalanchoe. My husband got that for me. It's been over a year. And this is one that I just keep taking cuttings and putting them back or giving them away. This plant just keeps on growing. And then right here is my Dioscorea elephantipes. And I recently moved it. I'm going to pull it down here for a second. I recently moved it out of my window where it was for the summer season. Now, it was like in between the windows, so it wasn't getting direct light, but it was getting bright light. But then when I moved it into the cabinet there, I feel like that light might have been too much for it. So you can see these leaves are paper thin, and I'm pretty sure that these are all on the way out. But it has put out a few new leaves here, and I don't know if that's going to focus. It's put out a couple of new leaves under this new light level, so they'll be better acclimated to that, and hopefully we will bounce back and not go dormant. And then down on the bottom here, my string of pearls, and this is the one that kicked off my entire plant collection. I saw this online and I fell in love with it, and that is when I wanted to start collecting plants. I got this guy and that Synthapsis Pictus you saw, and this one I actually had my mom find for me because I couldn't find it anywhere. Now, I have been through it with this plant and it is looking really good right now. But for the first couple months it was amazing, and then I repotted it into terracotta because I didn't think it should be in glass or ceramic. And then it just never did. It was like 2 or 3 years of just barely surviving, no growth, like everything was small. And I think that I was not giving it enough water, which you would think because it's a succulent that you wouldn't want to, but I feel like when I started giving it more water, it started growing. Same thing with my string of bananas. Next to that is the string of turtles. And this is my second time with trying this plant. So I'm trying the same thing with this, giving it a little more water than I did the first one around. And then next to that is just some propagations. So this is another piece of my Mame. This is my Baltic Blue Pothos, which is actually an epipremnum. And then back there is some Cissus discolor cuttings. All right, up top here we have a Cebu Blue and a little Halloween cat pillow. That's one of those vintage inspired ones from Target, but I just thought it was really cute. Below that we have an Asparagus Fern. I wanted something to be in a glass jar so badly, and I picked the Asparagus Fern because I felt like it could probably withstand the humidity. And then this is a Beads Lampranthus. So just a succulent, but really cute leaves. Below that is my Hoya Carnosa compacta. And this one has been really reliable and good for me. It grows like medium speed. So not slow, but not fast. Kind of just reliable, like I said. And then below that is my Cissus discolor. I love this plant. I got this as 2 small cuttings from that same store that all the other ones come from. They have a wall of propagations, and it's called Flora Good Times if you're anywhere in the Hudson Valley. It's located in Beacon, New York, and it's worth the drive. If you're, if it's like an hour away, which it is for me, it's worth the drive. So they had a propagation wall, and they had Cissus discolor in it the time that I found this guy. And it started out, I think, just like these main, like this one and the other one in the back there that are large. It grows so fast. You can see that. I've already taken cuttings. And the other thing about this plant is it will put out little sugar crystals. So if you see that, don't panic. It's not pests. That's just part of what this plant does. And I was trying to see if there's any that you can see. Let me get in here. So I can see that this vine has some on it, and my phone is not going to focus on that. But it grows little crystals, and that's perfectly normal. And then next to that is just my money tree. And this guy's name is Cash. This is another one that has a name. Not all of them do. Some of them I do if I feel kind of like kitschy at the moment. So that is Cash. And now I think we will head to the kitchen. And so coming out in my kitchen, this window is the only place that I have like potted plants. I do have a propagation wall, but that is kind of a mess right now. So let's just go in this window here. I'm going to start in the top left, And that is where I have my black pagoda lipstick plant and my goldfish plant. Next to that, I have my rickrack cactus and some Thanksgiving cactus cuttings, a Ripsalis pilocarpa and a Ripsalis paradoxa. And then on the shelf below that, I've got the Synthapsis Trubii Moonlight. This is some kind of Alocasia bulb. I am leaning towards Maharani, but I'm not sure because they kind of got mixed up in my prop box. And then this is a pink princess that I got at the plant swap. And it actually put out a little more variegation on this last leaf. So I'm excited for that. You can see there's some up here at this corner and then there's some down there. Now I recently moved it to my kitchen window here because all my leaves are not, they don't turn green. They all stay really dark, so I felt like it was getting too much light under the grow lights. So I have moved it to this window here. Now this window is a northern exposure, but it's got a skylight, so it's it's perfect light for a medium type plant. All right, then next to that is my Philodendron micans and my Hoya Linearis, which took a long time for me to kind of figure out. But this is a Hoya that does not want to dry out. This one likes more water than you think that Hoyas would want, because most of them I let dry out. This is one that cannot dry out or it will die. So I started out, I think, with maybe like a 12-inch section that I bought on eBay or something like that. And I ended up killing off all but like 4 inches of it. I kept taking cuttings to try and save it. And eventually I have been able to grow it back. This is like 2 years in the making. But do not let it dry out. And then next to that is where I have all my syngoniums. So in the front here I have my elbow, and this is one that I actually did at a plant swap. It came with, I think, this leaf here, and then maybe this one here. So this one grows pretty reliably, and this leaf is I'm probably gonna end up losing it because there's not much green on it. But it's kind of fun to watch what each new leaf is gonna do. Back there, this one here is my Syngonium macrophyllum, and that is another one I picked up at that plant swap. There was a girl there that had really nice Syngoniums, so I'm thinking she must have been like a Syngonium collector or just enthusiast. And then this one here is a Chia Pence, and this one is one that I bought on Etsy. There is a shop called Christina's Garden, and I think it's out of Florida. But I have gotten a lot of the plants that I got on Etsy, I've purchased from that shop, and I can't say enough good things. Everything came fast, it came packaged really well. If I'm able to link an Etsy shop, I'll link it, and I have had no issues with her. She's been great. So let me step back and kind of like the overall what I tried to do with this. Because it really is just like 2 big shelves, I wanted it to have some kind of a method to it. So I divided it up into 6 sections. You can kind of see like 3 on top, 3 on bottom, and styled each one as if it was its own little display. So for now, that's what we're going with. I really enjoy that. Let's go to the bathroom and see what I have in there. And here we are in the bathroom. I'm gonna have to talk loud so you can hear me over the fan. But this is the only plant area I have in the bathroom. This is a west-facing window, and the bottom part is kind of like a privacy glass, so it's a little bit filtered. This is my Hartley Philodendron. This is one of those basic plants that I feel like everybody should have in their collection. This is one of those plants that just continually grows. You can take cuttings, and it really, I don't know, it just gives like a jungle vibe because it grows so quickly. And then over here, I've got a little tray. Now inside of this tray, I have a plastic saucer that's about the same size, and then I put rocks in it and made a little humidity tray. And then everything else is sitting up out of the water, but so the, you know, it evaporates. It gives it a little extra. So this one here is my Asparagus Fern. This one just recently put out all this growth. So I'm gonna have to kind of stake it up. And what I've done here, I'm just gonna kind of go through the foliage. You can see this thing here, it's like a little L-shaped nail. And I put these in, and then I kind of just lean the things behind it. So I can take it out to like dust it off or mist it. but then I can kind of put them back into place. So I am gonna have to stake these up. And then this is another asparagus fern. This is a foxtail one, I believe. And then these two guys, this is a Begonia Immaculata Whitey Eye. And if you're never tried begonias, this one is really easy. This is like the only one I own, and it's been very easy going. And then back here, this one is temperamental. This is a silver streak peace lily, and this one is constantly browning. I mean, obviously I've tried the humidity because I've got it on a humidity tray, and I have used only distilled water, and I still get browning. So I'm hoping as the new leaves come out, they will be more accustomed to this settings and they will just grow normal. That's my hope for the long run on this one. So just quick overview, that is the little display I have going on in my bathroom. So I want to thank you guys for coming along on this houseplant tour. If you liked what you saw, take a second to click like and subscribe and click the bell notification so you don't miss anything. And if you have any questions about any plants you saw or care, go ahead and leave them in the comment box and I'll try and get back to you. But thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.